Hey everyone, it's LS, and this is going to be a first impressions video on the newly released, newly revealed champion, Kaisa, Daughter of the Void. And I've only read a little bit of her ability so far, so we're jumping right in without really knowing too much. So, okay, passive second skin, caustic wounds. Kaisa's basic attack marks enemies with plasma, increasing bonus magic damage after a few successful attacks. The plasma ruptures for a burst of damage based on the target's missing health. Nearby allies' immobilizing effects add stacks of plasma. Living weapon Kaisa symbiote suit adapts to her chosen attack style, evolving her abilities based on permanent stats gains from shop items and experience. Let's take a look. Oh, it's a 4-hit passive. Oh. Okay. Alright. Don't know what to say about that. I mean, oh, okay. So, okay, Kaisa releases a swarm of missiles evenly distributed among nearby enemies with additional hits on the same target dealing slightly reduced damage. Nearby allies' immobilizing effects add stacks of plasma. Living weapon with enough bonus attack damage, Scythian Rain fires significantly more missiles. Okay. I mean, it seems very generic. Nearby enemies. So, I mean, I don't know, what happens if it's used inside of minions and stuff. I mean, I don't totally know. Living weapon with enough bonus attack damage, Scythian Rain fires significantly more missiles. Okay, so here's the thing. So, bonus attack damage, so obviously she wants AD, I guess, for this to do a lot, but let's just move on to her W really quick. Void Seeker. Kaisa fires off a beam of void energy, revealing the first enemy hit, dealing magic damage and applying stacks of plasma. So, she has two things that are dealing magic right now. So, is she going to be one of the first AD carries that builds AD but deals magic? Is that going to be one of the things that's going on here? Because that's what I'm starting to feel like. Okay, so it's an Ash Hawk Shot that now deals damage. And it's not nearly as big. So, it's a Jin and an Ash... It's a Jin W and an Ash Hawk Shot tied together. And I guess it applies two of her stacks. Okay. Living weapon with enough bonus ability power, Void Seeker deals more damage and partially refunds the cooldown on champion hits. So that's pretty cool. Revealing the first enemy hit. Can it be intercepted by minions? Because if it can't... this is obviously a really, really cool ability. And apparently, okay, I mean, that's kind of nice. Supercharger. So, Kaisa charges up briefly, increasing her movement speed, but losing the ability to attack. After charging up, Kaisa whips out the big guns to increase her attack speed for a few seconds. Basic attacks reduce Supercharger's cooldown. Living weapon with enough bonus attack speed, Supercharger briefly grants true invisibility while charging up. Okay. Okay. Alright. Okay, Killer Instinct. Kaisa dashes at extremely high speed with long range to a location near an enemy champion marked with plasma and briefly gains a damage-absorbing shield. Let's take a look at the playing as Kaisa. Is she a jungler? I mean, she doesn't look like an AD carry. So here's some of the problems. With enough bonus ability power, Void Seeker. So she has AP in her kit. She deals magic. Her passive deals magic. But then she has, with enough bonus attack damage, and then enough bonus attack speed. So Guinsu's, I guess? Is this going to be a hybrid AD carry? This is reminding me of a few things. It feels like Vayne, Xayah, and Evelynn all had a child. Somehow. That's exactly what I'm thinking right now. So that Vayne, Eve, and Xayah all had a kid. And that is whatever this kid is. And then apparently they all slept with Jhin. I don't know. Killer Instinct. The thing is that if you're gonna be super slippery, and you're gonna be itemizing attack speed and AD and on hit or whatever it is that she's gonna be itemizing, why does she want to get in close proximity? I mean, yeah, she deals insane damage. Maybe this is actually going to be like one of the first ADC assassins in a way, where she has the ability to deal sustained damage and then she can just go in for an assassination. And I guess that's sort of like quirky if he doesn't have to use his Valkyrie defensively. Like if the target gets low enough, he can just Valkyrie forward. But overall, I mean, her numbers are really going to impact her. Because if her numbers aren't there, or if her ratio, I guess ratios tie into numbers. If they're not there, she's just going to suck. And if she is going to need Guinsu's, then it's going to mean that she needs a pretty big wind-up. And then whatever, again, her ratios are and how they're impacted will ultimately affect her second item. And then depending on how that affects her second item, it also affects her power spikes and how that'll all tie in. Obviously, we don't know. Is that 550 range, or is that 500 range? I actually can't tell inside of the video if that's 500 or 550. If it's 500, she's going to have a really hard time. It's 550, it's a little bit manageable, but regardless, just the initial thoughts of how her itemization is going to go and then how she'll tend to play out, I'm not getting a very good vibe. Apparently Twitch chat is telling me it's 500. That's really rough. That is very rough. So, even with all of her slipperiness and her mobility, 500 range, maybe she ends up being a mid laner, but even then, as a mid laner, you have to wonder, like, what matchups is she gonna get picked into? She's not gonna do anything against Azir. She's not gonna do anything against Zoe. Then again, who does? She's not gonna do anything against Victor if he ends up coming back because of the new itemization. She's not going to do anything against Cassiopeia. She's not going to do anything against Talia. So all these champions just knock her out of mid lane. And other champions, if she had, again, either her stats need to be insane, because her kit to me, it looks really good on paper, but when you actually think about what it means for her to do some of the things that she wants to do, like, okay, charges up briefly, increasing her movement speed, but losing the ability to attack. That's nice, that's a novelty. So realistically, you cast this at the beginning of the fight, and then it's not actually helping you position because people aren't just standing still. Or at least it's not going to help you position the way that people think it's going to help you position. And again, if she just doesn't have enough damage, what are her cooldowns? What are her numbers? Because her cooldowns are going to be extremely important for her, because that's going to let you know if she's going to be able to duel. So the first impression that, again, I'm having looking at her entire kit is her numbers will make or break her, in addition to the items that exist in the game. Because some champions right now, for instance, are a byproduct of items simply either not being good enough or items being too good. An example of items being too good is like Varus and Kog'Maw, right? The way that they can itemize against the current meta and the way that the runes and everything ended up changing, Guinsu's and Wit's End became extremely powerful items, and it ended up bolstering some champions within the game without actually the champions being affected, with their own stats or whatnot. So, looking at this, maybe she ends up being a jungler or something with 500 range, because she does have that assassination field, so then it's sort of like Graves meets Evelynn. But I don't totally know exactly what's going on. This is pretty strange. Pretty strange. So, I can't click this. So, I don't even know. First impressions are that she's probably... Either she comes out busted and then gets nerfed, or she's just trash. I feel like she's looking like a Kassadin, or an Evelyn, or a LeBlanc, or something to that nature. She's like Fiora if Fiora didn't have riposte. That's my own conclusion, just looking at her skills and her abilities and knowing about her range and just thinking about where the meta stands right now and what that means for where she's going to match up in mid lane, or if it's going to match up in mid lane or ADC. And then the only thing that starts making sense to me is like, okay, maybe she can actually just be a jungler. So I don't totally know. It's pretty big. Yeah, it's like a void vein. That's actually a pretty good statement. So, all right. I mean, that about wraps it up. I really don't have anything else to say. I think that her kit is extremely uninteresting. Not in the sense of, like, it's not like Zoe. It's not always going to be interactive and worthwhile to have inside of a game because it's too good, right? It's not going to be like a Thresh. It's not going to be like one of those champions where their kit just can't be ignored, and so they're always going to be relevant. She is going to suffer depending on her numbers. So that's pretty much it.